right, hello everybody. Welcome to our weekly Wednesday PD. This will be the last one for the official school year. I'm going to throw the attendance in the chat as usual. I am going to, just so kind of a upkeep here for the summer, I am going to keep doing videos just because I have some ideas for things that would be useful to have for next year. I might do them live, I'm not sure yet, but if I do, you're welcome to join or just watch them or whatever you want to do. Of course, that's up to you. Just so you know, I will put the link in the chat. If you are interested to kind of follow along, my plan is to talk to some educators, not only here in the state of Maine, but around the country and even around the world, to keep that going as far as things that they found that worked this year and things that found that didn't, and if we can learn from each other. So I would like to keep this going right into next year, with the idea being that we'll have more student involvement come September or come fall. So that is going to continue on. Also, as far as wrapping up for today, what we're going to be talking about, what we're going to be doing, we're going to be covering some of the kind of housekeeping things that you may want to do for your. Let me jump over here. There we go. Things that you may want to do for your end of the year kind of wrap up as far as your technology stuff goes. Things like if you need to transfer data over, or if you want to make sure you're signed out of everywhere, archiving Google Classrooms, that kind of stuff that you may need, or maybe you know about or want to learn a little bit more about, or whatever. As usual, go ahead if you have any questions as we go forward, throw them in the chat. The first thing I'm going to share today, I thought this was kind of interesting, we'll do the entire screen, is the new version that just came out of Google Meet. Now, some of you may have this, some of you may not. It's actually kind of rolling out. And so here I am, a little bit of an inception. You're seeing me look at myself on the screen here. But you'll notice that the looks are very different. Maybe you guys are looking at it this way. I'm not sure. I know it's rolling out. I don't know if they did it domain-wide or just doing it individually. All the same kind of stuff. And this happens every once in a while, right? They kind of re-up to make it look a little bit different. But this is all the same tools. We have our mute, pictures. We do have captions now. So this works the same way that would work if you turn on your phone and you wanted to speak to it. It has that same conversion. Sometimes it works great. Sometimes it doesn't work so well, right? Some words, depending on how you say them is how they're translated, so that makes a difference. But this might be a useful tool for your students if they want to have this to kind of see, to read it best they can as they're watching videos. You can also, when you're done, I'm going to turn that back off. There's also a Google tool called Transcribe that will allow you to take videos just like that and take that text and actually download that text if you want to store it or use it or do something with it. So that's kind of a new feature built in. Some of the other stuff, again, mostly it's cosmetic, mostly it's the looks. There's our joining info over here. Here's everybody. I can see everybody over here on the right side as before. Here's our chat. This looks a little bit different. You're recording, whiteboarding, polls, that kind of stuff, all that, breakout rooms. They are going to give you the option to be able to preset breakout rooms. So if you have students come in, if you already know their accounts, they can already be kind of preset into breakout rooms, which will be super helpful. For next year, again, if we don't get to it this year. Layout. So one thing that happens a little bit different here, and actually I just turned it off. Let's see if I can get it back again. I'm going to unpin myself. So your video, my video, I can actually move it around now. I don't know if you guys can see that very well. But instead of being just kind of stuck where it is, that's a relatively new feature, the idea of being able to slide it around so you're not covering over something if you want to see your video, either a text or another person or whatever. So this stuff will keep, updating, keep improving as we go forward. I will throw this link in the chat here. These are officially from Google as far as what all the buttons do, the controls, how they work, all that kind of stuff. It's a little bit interesting to me that they're doing it now, right before the school, most school year ends, getting ready for summer. But it might be a thing where we kind of play with it this summer and then have it ready to go for next year. So speaking of next year, another thing that will be coming up sooner than later is getting ready for your Google Classrooms. And so if you want to archive your classroom, now somebody asked about what if I want to reuse certain lessons or certain components? The classrooms that you have, the Google Classrooms you already have right here, if I open one of them, if I click on the little 3 dots on one of them, I can archive that. Now, archive does not mean delete. It simply basically means store it. And so while it's being archived, do I want to go? It will say archive in class, cause it to be archived for all participants. That means if a student is going to go to that same class, it would not be there for them anymore. This will be particularly helpful for Google Meets. I don't know if you guys remember, but last spring at the end of the year, we had issues with kids joining Google Meets if we weren't there, that kind of thing. So if you archive that classroom, that means it will not be available for them anymore. We'll take care of that. Archived classes can't be modified by teachers unless they are restored. So you're just kind of storing it. You can easily, I'll show you how to do this in a second, restore it again, pull it back up again, do what you need to it, and then archive again if you need to. The class will move to your archived classes. Class files will remain in Google Drive. This is another really important point. So that folder that was created on your end as the teacher, but also on the student end, nothing happens to the content, to the folders you guys created. It all is still there. It's just the classroom itself is kind of hidden or archived. So you'll still have access to all your documents that you had. The students will have the same access to their documents they had, just like it was before. I'm actually going to archive this class, show you what it looks like. So I'm going to click Archive here. There, it's gone now. If I click up in the 3 lines in the upper left, the little menu, the hamburger menu, if I scroll all the way down here, I'll see Archived Classes. So I can click on that. And these are the classes that are archived, ones that I've had before that I've archived for whatever reason. You notice they have kind of like a white line going through them, through the cover. So if I want to restore that classroom, because I'm like, oh, I need something from it, or for whatever reason, if I click the little 3 dots here, I can restore it, and I'll bring it right back up as it was before. Click on that. Yep. And now any student that was in there will be back in there again. That's why, I don't know if you guys remember, at the beginning of the year, we actually had you guys put times, like years with it, 2021. Because if you're doing math 2021 or science or whatever it is, if you have a bunch of classrooms all called math or even called 7th grade math or whatever, you might get them confused, where if you have, put the year in there, that will help you help. If you do want to truly delete it, I want it gone. Back here in the archived classrooms, scroll down here. So I want this sample class right here. I want it gone. I'm totally done with it. I'll just click on the 3 dots, click delete, and it will actually delete the classroom. Again, it will not delete the work that was done inside of it. The students will still have their work. You'll still have your work. It will just delete the classroom itself. So you might say, well, why would you bother deleting one? Why would you just archive it? Not sure. I can see a time when maybe your archived classes get to be crazy. Like I've got a ton of them here, as you can see. So maybe you get to the point where you want to, clean those up as well. That's up to you, how you want to manage that. My guess is starting the next year, we'll actually kind of archive them all, start out fresh, and then kind of build from there. You will be able to pull classes. If I wanted to pull an assignment, let's say I go to classwork, and I want to create a new assignment here, I can reuse a post from other classes. So if I wanted to pull that back, so if you have your year done and you just want to access it and pull that back in, I would be able to do that right here. I'd be able to go down and find that class. These are archived classes, but I could pull up an archived class and access it as I need to. So hopefully that helps. Okay, a couple questions that came up. I noticed a new version yesterday, tried captioning English, Spanish, works pretty well. Great. That's interesting, Nate. So it works in Spanish as well. I did not know that. I didn't realize it would caption Spanish. That's cool. Does it archive it on the student's class end as well? What happens is the student will go back to their main page like this right here, and your class just won't be there anymore. They just won't appear there for them. So it doesn't archive it where they can go see it. It just is gone. All of their work is still there. So I think I mentioned before, if you go to Drive, you go to your Google Drive over here on the left side here, any Google Classroom you're connected to, you as the teacher or students joining, it automatically creates a folder called Classroom, which is right here. And it has a folder for each of the classes. So that STEAM class I mentioned, it's here somewhere. I don't remember what I called it here. But each one of them would be right in here. So all that stays. None of that gets deleted, it gets removed. And so, again, it just will be there. So kids can go back if they want to look at something, or if they want to pull up an assignment they had from before or whatever, it's all still there. Cool. Oh, can't translate English to Spanish. Gotcha. So Ms. Barbosa asked, when you reuse a post, does it make a new copy of it? Can you edit the post before posting, or do you need to edit afterward? Great question. And the answer is it will. It won't post it until you can edit it. It doesn't say, oh yeah, here's an old assignment, boom, it's gone. It allows you to pull it up. You can make the changes that you want to or need to. If you need to add something or take something away or whatever, it just means you don't have to do it from scratch, right? So let's say your first lesson of the year is, page 1, 2, 3, or whatever. You could pull that back up, and you can make tweaks as you want to, and then post it out there. Yep. Awesome. All right. Another topic that I wanted to bring up as far as, as we wrap up the school year, wrap up the end of the year, not only kind of getting archived classes. I will say I would not archive your classes yet until next week. Maybe if you're a senior teacher or something like that, but any, middle school teachers or even, any classes that have students that are still involved in them, I wouldn't archive them until you're totally done. And just so you know as well, we give the students the summer, seniors anyway, to be able to get their stuff out of their classes or out of their accounts. If they want to transfer to a personal account, I'll show you how to do that in a second. We give them that time to do so. So another thing that comes up is, what if I want to be able to make sure that I'm signed out of everywhere? I've been in different places around the school. I've been in the library. Maybe I've been in the computer lab, whatever it is. How do I know that I'm signed out or where I am signed into my account? There's a quick way to do that. So you can just sign out of everything, so you don't have to worry about that. Right in your Gmail, so I'm in my regular Gmail, I'm going to scroll all the way down to the very, very, very bottom in the far lower right. And again, it doesn't look like a link, but it's the word details. It's kind of hard to find. The word details, if I click on that, this little window will pop up. And this shows me where has my account been signed into. Here's some mobile, here's some web, unknown, whatever. It will show me the last, when my account's been signed into. Now, you may be signed in on your phone, so that's why it says mobile. You might sign into different computers or different accounts. That might be why. Every once in a while, just so you know, if you ever see on here, it says, oh, California, you were just signed 2 seconds ago. And you're like, well, I wasn't in California. Why did it say that? It's where your account's being pinged. So if you've ever signed into a third party, let's say you signed into another program that you're using, that it uses your account to sign into, that's why that might happen, right? So it might say, oh yeah, I just pinged a California server. So that doesn't mean necessarily that's hacked or anything like that. It just means that it's signed into your account to ping a server that's somewhere else. So that's okay. One thing you can do right here though, if I want to, oh, you know what, I'm not sure I'm signed in, I just want to sign out of everything. You can click right here, it says Visit Security Checkup, and click that link. And I can sign out of anywhere that I'm signed into. Okay, so here's a Chromebox, here's my Pixel. If I click Remove, that will sign out of all those accounts all at once. Here's also third parties, as I mentioned. So if there's other third-party programs that you've connected with your Google account, if you don't recognize it, EasyBib, Bibliography Creator, oh, I remember that, that's fine. Or I don't remember this one, I can remove it right here. And that way you're kind of cleaning stuff up. So I wouldn't worry about it unless you are worried about it, unless you have a problem. But that lets you sign out of everything at once. Basically, you get out, just boom, click a button and you're signed totally out. And that's the easiest way to do that. And then, of course, you can sign right back in with your own account into your computer you're on right then. Let's see. Can you show me that button again? Absolutely. So if you go to your Gmail, doesn't matter where you're at in Gmail, just pull up your, mail.google.com or whatever. If you scroll all the way down the far, far lower right, it will say things like last account activity 0 minutes ago, because you're on right now. But right below that, open in one other location. So I know personally that I'm signed in on that laptop that we're using right now and also on my phone. So I know that I got 2 locations. But if you're not sure, if you click details right here, the little link, you can sign out of everything at once right there. Awesome. Which brings me to my last piece that we're going to talk about is transferring your data. So if you do want to or need to, now this is something that we're doing with our seniors. There are seniors that are graduating. Again, as I mentioned, we'll allow them, a month or 2 this summer to get their stuff off of. We won't just immediately, delete all their accounts. And in fact, we don't delete their accounts anyway. What we do is we suspend them. And so that's why we sort students by class of whatever, 2021 or so forth, so that we can, that whole OU or organizational unit, we can suspend them. If a student came to us next year or 2 years from now and said, hey, Mr. Kelly, I really need to find that piece of information for whatever reason, we would have the ability to unsuspend that account, open it up, get that thing, and figure that out. But this summer, we'll give them time to be able to transfer. This is the link right here. I'll just throw that in the chat. So this link right here, bit.ly/transfer your data, and it does cap sensitive. So that will bring you to this page right here, just a Google slide basically with a video embedded. And it walks you through the steps. So here's the first link, takeout.google.com/transfer. Now, the very first step is you want to create your own personal Gmail account. Most of our students already have that, but with your own personal account that you could transfer into. This video that's built in here, if you play that, it will show you that process. It walks you through step by step what you need to do. So first you create an account, then you go to this link. In this link, in this transfer link right here, you're entering a destination account. So I'm going to go to my kernkelly@gmail.com or whatever, and it'll send a code. That code is just to make sure that you own that account, that it's your account. So you put that in there, you verify it, and then you send what you want. When you do that, it will ask you, well, what actual information? Is it everything? Is it just your Google Docs? Is it just your Drive? Is it your Gmail? Do you not want that? Like, you can pick and choose which things you want to transfer over. When you do that, it will take a little bit. Like, it's not instantaneous. It takes a while, but then it will transfer over to that other account. It will make it so as if that other account is now owner of those documents or of all that stuff. So it's almost like a copy, but that new account has the ownership of it. Right here, this link as well will bring you to just basically the steps. So if you want to go through this from Google, specifically, like how you do all these different pieces, see your files copied, what changes. The new account becomes the file owner. Like I said, that's a change. It's a difference. And then if there's error message, what you can do about that if there's certain things that don't come through. Okay, so that link will show you. Now, the only I would ask is that everybody just doesn't do this at once, right? I wouldn't like walk my entire classroom through like, hey, everybody click transfer, because you'll be able to hear the bandwidth getting sucked out of the room as that happens. But that's why, like I said, we had it open over the summer. What typically happens, what I find, is students that start going into their next year, maybe college or whatever it is, and they're like, oh, I want to pull up that essay that I made last year to work with or whatever, then it becomes really important to them. So getting them to transfer stuff over is super useful. All right. And so with that, I don't see more questions here. I know this is a short one, but that's okay. Hopefully people are generally beating the heat. I know it's crazy hot in this room as well, so I get the fan going. But we'll do our best. So we're only got a week away. Next Wednesday there won't be a Tech PD, but I am, like I mentioned, I am going to do it over the summer. I plan to do some interviews with some different, educators from around the country and certainly around Maine to kind of see what worked this year and what their plans are for next year and so forth to keep this going. And I'd like to pick it right up again in the fall, get more students involved as far as doing workshops, presentations, or just like from this medium right here, what we're doing. I really appreciate everybody joining me. I know this was, for a lot of you, Wednesday afternoons, I see about 30 to 40 people every week will show up and do this. And of course, watch later on. We'll see the numbers after they watch later on. So I think with that, we're going to wrap it up. Thank you all. If I don't see you before the summer, have a fantastic, relaxing summer. Disconnect, unplug for a while. And so we're ready to go again next year. Thank you guys all. Take care. Bye-bye.